Hello, welcome and namaste. Today, my guest is Prashant. He working in one of the startup in India, and I know Prashant for almost 3 years now. We met through Twitter, and then though I had a contest in which I wanted to give back to Ship 30 for 30 community, so I purchased a ticket code, and then I wanted to give away that to one of the and many people apply. I knew Prashant from before, and then what he wrote in that application, it was amazing. So at him, and we have been in touch since then. So with that, Prashant, I want to hand over mic to you to about what you do and what's your typical day and week look like.
Thank you, Vinod. Yeah, as Vinod mentioned, we know each other from a very long time, and I'm still very grateful to that one opportunity that he had provided me by gifting me that access to a cohort for SHIP 30 for 20. I am a software engineer. I'm an ST3 at a company called Clootrack. It is a customer experience and analytics platform. So my usual work is actually I'm a backend developer. So I work on microservices based architecture, and we are actually moving away from a monolithic architecture to a microservices architecture. So I was working on a couple of projects which are monolith based earlier, and now we are working on a microservices based architecture. And I'm currently handling one of the microservices, which actually involves building some infrastructure on this. And I also handle some parts of the infrastructure of our whole application. That includes working on the Kubernetes, the whole cluster, working on the other part of the architecture, like the every other Azure resource that we use. For example, the data factories or the Databricks clusters. Managing that is also part of that. And yeah, before that, I've also been working on the web crawler project that our company has. It is an internal product. I've worked on almost every product that our company has built. And yeah, it has been a really great experience, a really great team that I've got to work with, a really great manager that I've got the chance to work under. And yeah, every colleague has been very helpful and very encouraging to me. Yeah, working in all these projects, different kind of technologies that I have wanted to work with, and also that I never thought that I would get a chance to work on. I got a chance to work on all of those. Yeah, that's great. I cannot sit still on doing that. So there are always some ideas bouncing off my head on what all I can build. So there's always at least 2 or 3 projects that I'm actively working on during my weekends or after my working hours. One of the side projects actually got very successful, and I got to learn a lot of things during that. There are quite a few users of that product, and all the other projects that I've been working on have been very helpful in this journey that I've had as a software developer. Yeah, even right now, whenever I want to learn something new, whenever I want to try something new, I would have a project ready, already working on, and I already have opportunity to at least try it out on that product. And I would also know that because there are some of the users who are using that product as well. So I would also get to know that it works in real world as well.
Man, wow. So microservice, Kubernetes, Azure, no, web crawler, and then your own project. Definitely require two things: not being married, not having kids. So check mark. This also require passion and incredible time management, right? I have many questions here. First, I want to give you a big advice. When you joined Ship 30 for 30 and you started writing about different topics, those are one of the most popular article that you wrote was about note-taking app. Um, why don't you write about these things, microservices, tool that you're building, without sharing the detail about the company or detail about the actual implementation? You can still talk about what is your process to in a microservice from a monolithic application, right? It doesn't have to share syntax. You don't have to share the granular detail that your company probably won't want to, but you can still share the reason behind it, and what was your designing process. Most time these process are high level and common, right? Standard, but you share you the layers of your implementation. So there are hundreds of things that you can talk about. The reason I'm saying this is then is not a second thought or second activity. We do 10, 15 things a day, and you can pick one of those things and write a 200 words, like ship 30 for 30 talk about one topic, one person, one outcome. That's it, like one small thing. So anyway, I wanted to share that. Any quick reflection before I ask the next question?
Yeah, I never thought a lot about this. Most probably because I'm working on kind of autopilot, just like working all the time. Never thought about the fact that I could write about all these things.
Perfect. So we'll catch up on that. I will share more detailed input and some of the tips around that. Okay, so let's come back to the topic. You're doing a lot, and you realize that. So how do you manage your time? What's your typical day and week look like, and how do you plan it?
Yeah. So I wake up early morning, do a bit of workout at home, most probably, unless I woke up very late and I'll rush to get ready for work. My work starts at 9:30, so we have a daily stand up, and from 9:30 to 6:30 I work, taking breaks in the middle, take an hour break for lunch. When I'm really when I'm mindful and I want to when I'm working at my best, I usually remember to take breaks in the middle. So I'll get out and go for walks in the between. Want to rest my eyes. So I go in the balcony, sit for a while, for a few minutes over there. Sometimes I would get time to just chat with a few of my colleagues. Other times I would continuously and I would keep on staring at my screen the whole day. But yeah, anyway, I usually close my work at 6:30 by 7. After that, I go for a walk for half an hour to 1 hour every day. So if I log off by 6:30, 6:40, I would go for a walk for an hour, come back by 7:30, 7:45. I have a short meditation session for 10 to 15 minutes every day. After that, I have a very short window of about half an hour to 45 minutes. So what I do during that period is I plan for the next day. Also, there's two parts of this. I work at my organization. So there are tasks that I work there. But I also have this 30 minutes every day or sometime during the morning, early morning, half an hour to 1 hour again. So I also want to plan for that part of the day. What all things that I can do. I have sometimes I have to do some meetings. So I can plan for that. Sometimes there are some project that I'm working on. I have to read about something. I will just try something out. A lot of things that I can do in those 30 to 45 minutes of time. So what I do is when I'm logging off in the last 15 minutes of my day before 6:30 or before 7, I plan for the next day of my work. Same way after 8 or after my walk and meditation session, I'll plan for the next day again, those 30 to 45 minutes. But what actually helps me in planning this part of the day is the plan I made for the week before. So every weekend on Sunday, I have a weekly review. I review the past week, what are the things that I've done. And I also have monthly, quarterly, and annual planning and revision. All of these I learned during the lockdown. We were all pretty. So I was watching a lot of videos by August Bradley, his PPVs, and that content had one of the biggest impacts on me. I started planning and reviewing my whole weeks, months, and years. And on based on my monthly goals, I plan my weeks. So every weekend I plan what are things that I will be picking up, and I most probably also schedule times on my calendar. So daily, it's only 5 to 10 minutes of work for me to see if I'm going on track, if I want to change a bit of my calendar. And that's it. And then I mostly have half an hour that I'll maybe do something, I work on something, or I take some rest. That's it. And that's how I manage my time. And also, The biggest time that I have is on the weekends, because on the weekdays I cannot accomplish much on any of my other things. So on Fridays I usually plan the 2 days of my weekend. So I'll probably schedule some blocks, some 2 to 3 hour blocks of work. Some weekends I would go out with my family or with my friends to and take a break. Some weekends I would plan to just work for some time or just to read or yeah, again work on something else. The most helpful things are the planning sessions that I do, the monthly planning, the monthly goal setting that I do, then the weekly planning that I do on the weekends, and then the daily planning that I do the night before.
To Prashant, you have very structured way of planning and tracking and following that plan. And you said you Bradley has influenced it, but 2020 to 2024, you've been following that for 3 4 years now.
That is right. There have been times when I went off track. I couldn't
Yeah,
do much of this. Yeah, but I've always tried to come back to this because it has been very helpful for me.
I think this is, you may not realize that, but this type of structured planning has contributed to you able to do a lot compared to some other people.
Mm.
So, and plus strategy and planning and consistency that amplify what you could become in few years. So amazing. I want to ask, so started second quarter. Have you done any kind of quarterly planning for this one?
I usually do, but this quarter, at the end of this quarter, I went for a trip, so I couldn't do that. Yet. And this weekend, I was working on some issue at Nagpur, so
Mhm.
I didn't do that.
But you did. So audience will have an idea what we are talking about. Would you like to give a glimpse of what was your March monthly plan or Q1 plan?
I have a note taking app working here. Let's take. So what I usually do is at the beginning of the year, I set some big goals or whatever, and then mostly there's still I cannot plan for the whole year at once. So I have my sights on the first 2 quarters mostly, and then I divide my goals into quarters. So what I want to do in the first quarter, and again I cannot achieve a lot. I cannot achieve or four goals in the first month itself. So mostly I target on one goal, one big project, and maybe I'll see that if I can do something for the second one as well. So January I have this in log sleeve. I had some 3 4 goals for the whole quarter, but January I had planned some financial planning that I wanted to do at the year end, but I could not complete. So that I planned that I would complete that in January. And there was one thing that I wanted to try on my side project. So all the things that I've been doing was in the architecture that I had built
Mhm.
was not very scalable, as I realized after 3 years. So I'll change the whole architecture for that. Yeah, these were the two goals that I had picked. Because the financial planning goal would not take a lot of time, was just a weekend of work. I That's why I had planned for these two main projects. Most of the other times I have a single project in mind for a month.
Okay. And then, when you set that goal for changing the architecture, weekly you was broke on it into pieces, and then weekly you accomplish, and by end of the month you had the new architecture.
For the projects that are active for this month, in each weekly review and planning cycle, I would break the project down to the next tasks, and then I would schedule those tasks onto my calendar. If I'm not going during the weekdays, so I don't schedule those tasks on my calendar. But the other tasks, for example, the financial review, if I want to collect some data from my bank accounts, from my bank statements, that I can do in the those 30 minutes. I'll schedule those small blocks on my calendar for the week. That's how I do.
Awesome. I'm just impressed. I mean, I may speak to you. I'm impressed for the depth that you have, for your work and also for your thought process. So thank you so much for sharing all this. As we are talking about goals or time management, do you also decide your big goals, like where Prashant is going in 3 to 5 years from now?
I usually never think about 3 to 5 years. I've never thought about that until now.
How about 20 years?
Not my thought process till now had been that. So in 2020 or 21, in 2020 mainly. So I was working in an internship, and it was a really tough job that I was working on. I used to work very long hours, and I had no idea what I was doing. But by the end of it, I had realized that I'm going to become a software engineer. That was my final realization that I am actually going to do this.
Mhm.
Uh, for that, I had even until the second year of my college, I don't think this was a final decision on me. I was still trying out all the different things that I could. So just in a year, a lot of things had changed. I had no idea that I could do this. All the different things that I had done during my internship. And a few months later, I did even more things. I won some hackathons, and there were a lot of things.
Mhm.
But I used to think that I had no idea what I was going to do 3 months ago. And I had different plans maybe for this year, for 6 months from now. And if I see myself, if I go back 2 years and see what I've done now, I could not have planned for this. I could not have, even if I had set some goals, I may have fallen on the wrong track. Maybe I could have planned for something else. But what I've achieved right now is completely different.
That's absolutely right that what you have to achieve in last 3, 4 years, you could not have planned it, right? It's intense, it's deep, it's explorative, as well as opportunity that you had, whatever situation that you have, you capitalize on it. I always say that your career is 30, 40 years long, right? Where it start and where it will end, you cannot plan it for sure. And there are three things that you will encounter: opportunity, situation, and people. There will be opportunities that you will either take or decline. There will be situations that will make you do certain type of deeds or make certain type of decisions. And then there are people who will influence you in whatever direction, right? So those two, three things will shape your career. It does to everyone. Think for the long-term planning, obviously, you have two ways to do. One, you set really, really goal. Make a example. You live in Bali, and you said that I'm gonna go to in the direction Bombay, right? Some direction. I'm okay if I land Pune or Goa or Mumbai, right? So that's one way. You have a direction, decide that you're not going to go Calcutta. That's for sure, because you are going in this direction. And then every time driving, and then you have 200-meter visibility, and that's enough for you to drive. And then like monthly, quarterly, how far you have came, and is this still a good direction? And then you keep going there, right? The second one is once you have a extreme clarity and you said, I'm going to go Mumbai, and I will reach there at this time and this and that, right? And then you divide that in pieces, and then you go there and you reach there. Both are fine. The process that you are adopting is very agile. It counter for all the signals that you're getting, all the opportunity, situation, and people. So let's talk about last 3 years. Let's go on a flashback journey. What are the different things that has helped you in last 3 years?
I think the biggest thing that helped me grow and become what I am right now is to the mindset to always try to learn. I always wanted to learn the internals of everything I was working on, whether it be software or even if I was working on something, it is in some plugs. I always wanted to understand how everything works. So even in software, I want to understand how everything works again. And if there's something new that that comes up, I always want to try it out. I always want to try new technologies, new tools, new things, and I always want to try it out because only once I try things out, I understand things, and that's how I learn about these things. So when I had made almost made up my mind that I'm going to be a software engineer, I decided there were a lot of opportunities to for internships. Maybe not that much, but still I had a few. But most of them they were not that much. I was already working on some freelancing projects. Till now I had worked on a lot of them. But most of them they were used by 5, 10, 20 people at max. So that time I wanted to learn how to build things that would be used by a bigger number of people. I would how do applications work when they be used by that much more people. I wanted to understand that, and that's what my focus was during that time while searching for intern for the perfect internship that I would do. That's how I landed that internship, and that was one of the biggest growth moments for me. That 6 weeks, 6 or 7 weeks that I worked over there, I learned so many different things during that time because I landed the perfect opportunity for me. Same way, I wanted to understand a lot of other things, how applications get deployed. So I tried things on AWS, on GCP, on Azure, all the things that I wanted to try, all the things I wanted to learn. How do these things work? So I always asked my manager at work, and he always gave me the opportunity to try those things out as well. I believe always wanting to learn has been one of the biggest growth factors for me, at least.
This is incredible that what you shared is very practical and something that has worked for you. When you have something new, what's your typical learning process for that?
I think of myself more as a person who tries things out and breaks things to understand how things work. So, yeah, until now, until the advent of AI tools like ChatGPT and all, what I always used to do was I would just open a page of documentation of the thing that I wanted to do, and I would just try to write code and build a small prototype. Let's say I want to build a web server that does something. Let's say I'm trying to build a web server for the first time. You just open a very short tutorial and just check out the code, see what it does, and then I'll maybe not read the whole in-depth explanation of what everything does. I
Mm.
just write the code myself and then run, and then see where are all the points of where it breaks, and that's how I understand what each thing of the application does. And then maybe if I have documentation, what I'll do is I'll open documentation page to see what each method does, because that teaches me in a more granular fashion, in more depth, about each of the things that it does and what are the other things that I can achieve from the same tool. And with the advent of ChatGPT, I right now I would just ask a few questions about the thing to ChatGPT so that it gives me some starting points. And once I have those, I can just go and try with a few things. I can read a few articles about it. It can be, or let's say again, if I'm trying to build a web application, web server for the first time, I just ask it what is the best way to build a web server using Python. I would ask it to give me 2, 3 different options so
Mhm.
that I can check them on my own and then make a decision myself. Because it can be biased, it can hallucinate, and all the different things. I want to try all the things myself, weigh the pros and cons myself, and then I ask it questions based on my understanding. I ask questions to clarify whether my understanding is correct. Then I give my own list of pros and cons. Then I ask it to generate a list of pros and cons. And based on that, based on my thinking and based on ChatGPT's combination of words, we can make up something and I mean start the work with. And again, if I just want to build something quick, you just ask it to write some. After that, ask it to write some code and just do it again. That's what I was doing even today. Once I wanted to build one asynchronous web server. I'd already used AI or HTTP like the in Python, but I wanted to try how to do that with fast API. I also wanted to try out fast API. Uh, So I just asked it the best ways to try things out. I asked it to write some code, and then I had some code from AI HTTP. I gave it the code and asked it to convert it to fast API so that I could see the differences between those two. Yeah, it's a combination of trying to get some idea from the web, trying to understand, trying to read articles, trying to read documentation, and getting some idea from ChatGPT or Claude or any AI tool that I use.
Man, your answer is always so in depth, has so much information and practical advice in it. I could spend entire day talking to you about different areas, different topics, but let's bring this to the closer. I thoroughly enjoyed talking. These are all great topics and great answers. I want to give you an opportunity to talk about your projects, side project, and if somebody is interested in learning more about it or joining you and helping you, what's the easiest method for them to find out?
So yeah, the major site project I work on is a Telegram bot, and it runs some scripts. It's actually a very niche tool for some businesses. So when I was freelancing in college, mainly 2019, 2020, because
Hmm.
2020 I was sitting at home because I did not have to go to college. I had this opportunity to work a lot on freelancing projects, and there were a few of these tools that were common across some small and medium businesses that they wanted to use, and they were active on Telegram, and they had almost similar kind of requirements, and somewhat related to trading in crypto in forex. So those are common script, and I thought why not just automate it and make it a SaaS so that I do not have to. I'm also very lazy, so that if I find something that I have to spend a lot of manual effort in, and I would do everything so that I could automate the thing. So I was getting a lot of requests to do the same thing over and over again. So I thought, why not automate building all of this again? So I thought I'd build a SaaS. And since all of them, they were already on Telegram, they were using Telegram for everything. I thought, why not build everything on Telegram? So I built a Telegram bot, and Telegram has an amazing set of features and tools. It has opened up every API for developers. So I built this Telegram bot, and it runs some scripts on the cloud.
Hmm.
So a user can give it some configuration, and then they can ask it to run the script. And yeah, that's what the project does. It's simple, but the issue is that it needs to be highly available because these are
Yeah.
trading people who trade. So they want it to be fast and be available when the trade comes up. They do not want to lose any single penny because of the tool that they use. And as time grew, a lot of people started using it, and I started understanding the all those terms, those buzzwords that people use about scaling and distributed systems and all. Yeah, if anyone wants to ask and understand more about the project, they can anyway reach out to me on Twitter. I usually do not tweet a lot, but I do read a lot, and I will read all the messages. I do not actually. I so right now I do not work actively on it. Some there would be if there are some bug fixes, I would do them on weekends. And if I want to just explore a new tool or explore a new way of doing things, again I would schedule some time on the weekends. But yeah, it mostly is on autopilot right now. I do not spend a lot of time working on it. And yeah, I'm continuing using it as a learning opportunity for myself. Anything else is can
Awesome. And you've spent like last 3 years in it. You've been doing this for 3 years, right?
yeah, but I think the major effort came in for that 1 year when I in the, at the end of my college, that 1 year when I was at home and had just started working.
Okay.
Once
Okay.
to that, it's been not that much of an effort, except those weekend hours that I have to put in.
Got it. Got it. All right. So, guys, please check out. Prashant has multiple projects, so just check out. And he used that not only for learning, but also as a playground and trying out different things that has been giving him source. been a source of inspiration, passion, energy, and learning. Prashant, before I ask you my last question, is there a question for me?
Yeah, I've been seeing you doing a lot of experiments. One, you've been lightings and seriously for such long time. You've been also we have some digital info projects you have newsletter. And I saw your recent videos of you started going for a run. I wanted to understand your time management. How do you manage your time? Your takes on doing fun, how I can start doing that.
So I am somebody who easily get distracted by a shiny object, and I've done that for a long life. What happened in 2017, 19, I started writing on Medium, and my articles was getting traction. So once they reached to 150,000 views per month, I realized that writing, I can take it to the next level. But I also felt that I am limited to my thinking, my writing techniques, and everything. So then I joined Ship 30 for 30. That was April of 2021. They completely changed how I was thinking about writing as a hobby to utilizing writing to build something from scratch and possibly converting into a coaching business and all. They always talk about writing about one topic, one person, one outcome. But the biggest thing that they have done is to create, give me the consistency. Before I was taking a month, a week to write one article. With Ship 30 for 30, I was able to produce 30 article in 30 days. And then I kept extending that to 50 days and 100 days and 200 days. So since then, I've been writing either an article every a day or a post, couple of posts, right? That practice and especially the emphasis on one topic, one person has helped me transform this habit, writing habit, into a more tangible thing. Because when you write every day, you have so much articles, so much content that you can bundle into either a course or a e-guide or newsletter or many different ways. But the most important thing it does to you is to give you clarity of what one transformation that you want to do. What is that one thing that you want to do? So anyway, that's background. Also, and also why I am doing all everything that I'm doing. Now, how I manage my time and goal is my fuel is the passion or and extreme focus on one thing and handle everything else. Like 2080, right? So at my work, I have a 9 to 5 work. So I pick the topmost thing that if I miss one of those, then it will be a problem to my stakeholder or me. And then also pick what are the most important thing that if I do will bring the most impact to my team and my product and my customers, right? So I have an extreme focus on those items, and then on writing has been my extreme focus for last couple of years. So every quarter I set a goal, and that become where area where I'm spending all my energy, like up to 60% of my focus and energy. And then my work, my other activity, my other interest compete for that remaining 40% of my attention and my time. And that has been working really good for me. As long as I'm really hyper focused on the top thing of that goal that I have for that quarter, I am able to spend the action time, exploration time, learning time around those 60% of my life. And then the 40% is my work, XYZ activity. And I was able to manage that, right? So, anyway, my point is my time management is around that biggest goal that I have for that quarter, and then managing everything else in that remaining 40% of my time. And lastly, I am someone who does not try to manage the entire day. As long as I am focused for 2 to 3 hours, or as long as I'm doing the right thing for those 2 3 hours, either focusing on my content, focusing on video or something, right? If I can do those 2 3 activities a day, I feel happy. Before, I was always feeling guilty that I have a list of 20 items and I only finish 6 items. I don't do that anymore. So I know I was all over the place, but that's how I've been managing myself for last 3 years. One more thing that I will add for my office work, Prashant, I'm one of those extremely organized and extremely planned people. My entire career is, even when in the beginning of my career or now, when I work with 5 teams, work with big project, my approach and my biggest quality is to bring people together, have a solid plan for them, and then deliver a big project on time with proper communication. So yeah, I'm trying to bring all those in my side work as well.
I had another question that would be even more helpful for me. Is I'm not that good at networking or maintaining regular contact with people. Any person that I've met till now, I would remember that person almost forever. I remember each person from my childhood to up till now. I remember each small thing. But the thing, one thing that I'm not that good at is being regularly in touch or being frequently in touch or meeting new people myself. Do you have any suggestions, any tips for that?
Yeah, I do, because I'm like you. I still remember people who I work in my first company, and I've changed 5 different companies. So I know people who I have worked with 20 years ago. So yes, I'm like that person, but at the same time, I'm also not that party person who can meet 50 new people and then still remember their name and everything. No, I need to meet somebody for 5 times, 4 5 times to remember that person. And if you see social media, the norm says that they meet 100 people a month, 10 people a day, and they go to many spaces, many Discord, and all that. I cannot do that. And I'm sure you cannot do that too. So the process that I have been adopting is I have selected group of people. These are spaces, Twitter spaces that I frequently go to. Then there are 3 Discord, thousands of people, but there are 3 Discord that I keep going back to. And in those Discord, while they have like possibly 20 different channels, I only track one channel or 2 channels where there I felt like I will be able to make contribution, right? So that's second. And then the third is there are bigger accounts. Danny Thompson is one of them. Sean Charles is another one. Ankush is another one. These are people who I felt like trying to do things that sync with my thinking. So Danny Thompson, he does probably 20 things, but there are one thing that I really feel connected with is he does a cohort twice a year where 100 different people apply. They make team of 4 to 6 people, and they find a leader, a team leader who can lead this team. So I've done 3 cohort with this person. My point is, instead of going crazy with hundreds of new people, I try to go back to the same group and same people. And that is helping me remembering them and building more deeper connection with them. If I go to one of their spaces, they recognize me now because I've been doing that for 6 8 a year now. So that would be my advice. Instead of going wild, pick 2 group, 3 groups, and then contribute to those groups. Those could be Twitter spaces that happens every week. Those could be Discord group. And in those Discord group or in those Facebook group, X Twitter Spaces and all, what you do is there are three type of activities that you do. One is liking what somebody else has posted, right? You don't have to write your own post actually, because the basic thing that you could do is to like, give somebody an appreciation of the time that this person has invested in writing. You could do that in LinkedIn as well. There are many people who write good post about the work that they're doing and that you like what they have writing. So if you just like it, give a signal to that person and they feel appreciated for whether they spend an hour or 2 hours. You have seen that, right? In Shift 30 for 30, when you post something and somebody like, you you feel some kind of connection. The second thing that you could do is to write a thoughtful comment. That's a next level of engagement. You could do that in Twitter, LinkedIn, Discord community, or Facebook community, is posting a comment to somebody who have write something, right? And it could be as simple as, your post helped me with this. It helped me with transformation. It helped me make, or it make me think XYZ, right? Something happened, some kind of emotions happened after that, or a learning happened. Now, next is you can share that with other people. That's another level of appreciation and connection. So you can share directly without anything, or you can share with your own comment in which you're writing that I found this post and this talk about this XYZ, and this is what I liked about it. Simple thing, and that is like extreme level of contribution that you're making to this person, and you're making a connection with this person. If you do this 10 times, that person immediately recognizing you now. Oh, Prashant always come and support me and things like that. So summarizing, instead of going wild, you select few people and few communities and then start contributing to them by simple step of comment, share. And then the next few thing that you could do is to ask questions. Asking questions, many people don't realize that asking question is so powerful. People get to think and then answer, and makes a really good bond. And then finally, if you feel comfortable at some point, start writing your own things. And as we was talking initially earlier, you don't have to come up with new topic. You can talk about the thing that you're doing. How are you thinking about moving from monolithic to microservice architect? And there are hundreds of topic, Prashant. What are the challenge that you face? What are the challenge you're facing with monolithic? What are the problem that you think microservice will solve? What are the problem that you thought microservice will solve but not solved? What are the problem that microservice is now creating for you? It's all different topic that you can just talk about. So you can add that kind of contribution. And last thing that I will say, there are time when you need more strategical networking. Those are the time when you're trying to find a job or something, right? What we have spoken about, that will build a long term foundation for you with people that will start knowing you. But then there are time when you need more strategical thinking, that I'm looking for a job and I need something in next 3 months, right? So at that time you can go back to all these connections, and one thing that will happen, and how many people they know, right? And then the other type of people that you will help you in job searching or career development and things like that is the recruiters, hiring managers, and developers in other companies. So at that point, if you're targeting a company, you can find how many people are working there, who you can reach out, who can you start applying all these principles, all these ideas that we spoke about to those people by liking, commenting, DMing, and all that.
I've been taking notes on this.
All right, let's go to the last question. What is your advice and message to the audience? Whoever will watch this video, what do you want to say to them?
I'm not sure if I can give the sorts of some career advice to anybody, but I can just talk about the things that helped me a lot during all this time. The first thing we've already talked about is trying to learn things, trying to uh, just learn all the things that you can. I've seen some of my juniors or some of the other people I've talked to who are afraid of trying new things, afraid of learning new things. They want to keep on working the same thing that they're more accustomed to. Trying to work with new things is more challenging and it's also scary in the beginning. But I find that scariness is a challenge that you're solving. Again, it's again a problem that you're solving. Software engineer, you have to solve a lot of problems. Other thing that has helped me a lot is following what I like doing. I realize that I really like creating projects that are usable, that I can see in action. As soon as I learned how to program in C, I started creating some programs to solve some things. Initially, it was just how to find the inverse of a matrix because that's what we were doing in our
Okay.
maths classes. Okay. Then there were other things that we were doing manually in maths or in other classes. I just wanted to automate things. I wanted to program things. Same way, that's how I decided that I want to learn Python. That's how I decided I will start freelancing. That's how I decided I will start working on all these other side projects. I like doing all of this. And on that basis of that liking, I tried to find out that how could I apply all these things? How could I do more of these things? Okay. On the other hand, I did not enjoy in DSA that much. I cannot read for 2, 3 hours a day and do that. But you still have to do it. And there are a few things that are boring that you do not like, but you still have to find time and do it consistently because those are important things. And again, this is one of those important things that I remember from those August battle videos that we always find things which are urgent and those things may be important, may not be important, but if there's something urgent comes up, we always schedule time for it. But because of that, the things which are non-urgent but which are important long term, they take a step back. But we need to consistently work on those boring important things every day. We need to schedule at least an hour or whatever time we can every day to move forward on things. Okay, so learn, always focus on learning, do what you like to do, and explore all the possibilities so that you can continue doing that. But also never forget to do the important things which are boring, which you may not like doing, but those are actually very important. And one more thing is that whatever you find, you just do it. Don't think a lot about it. If you're shy, and just like I used to be very shy. I would not do things. I would not participate in a lot of things. And one day I decided to do things, and then it just snowballed into everything. In my school, I participated in one extracurricular activity, and it gave me such a big confidence boost that I started participating in everything. Same way, once I participated in an activity, in a club activity in college, it snowballed into me becoming club lead and doing all sorts of different activities. Just do things, do not worry a lot about anything else. I guess that is what helped me, and I believe it should help a lot of other people. Is
100%. Whoever is listening, if you can just follow this last segment, you will learn a lot and you will be able to create a career that you will enjoy. Prashant, thank you so much for being my guest on this podcast. I enjoyed each and every second of this discussion. You have so much depth in your thought process, right? Your work has the depth, but your thought process also have a clarity and the depth there. So thank you so much. I personally learn a lot. Any last comment from you?
well, thanks a lot, Vinod, for having this. I think by having this conversation, a few more things that got clarified while I was talking about, so again, was very helpful for me as well. And hoping to be a part of the next season as well, hoping that I will be doing even more things in it.
Yeah, for sure. And I can see that the type of career that you will be making in next 5, 10, 20 years. I'm just excited that I'm part of your journey.
Thanks a lot.